Oh, we're on TV. Mom. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our panel. How's everyone enjoying PAX East?
All right.
I can tell who went to the Pokémon booth today. Did you win? Nice.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. We know it's late and you didn't have to be here, so we appreciate that you are.
Yeah. There's a ton of people here. I'm from a very small town in Oklahoma. I think I probably graduated with at least like 200 less people than are in this room. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So, welcome. This is the bizarre side of the Pokemon anime. Can everyone hear us okay, by the way? All right. Yeah, so just to quickly get right into it, who the heck are we? So I'm Connor. I'm known online as Animated Ginger, so I'm a Pokemon anime YouTuber. I also do TikTok, Instagram, all the side hustles. Some fun Pokemon facts about me. My favorite character is James, because he's the purest heart in the entire franchise. Hell yeah. My favorite Pokemon movie was and always has been Spell of the Unknown. And fun fact about me is I own 7 copies of the game Balan Wonderworld. I'd like to point out I bought most of them after Yuji Naka was arrested for insider trading. But yeah, so that I have not played it. One day I'll get around to it.
All right, and my name's Ayan. I go by Ionic Bond on the internet, formerly known as Shiny Zoroark. I do Pokemon anime content as well on YouTube. A niche viral in the Pokemon anime community because I screamed Serena's name from across the room in a video one time. Let's see if we can do it without being... Serena! That's what I did on a video. My favorite Pokemon movie is Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, and it's peak fiction, okay? Lucario in that movie, the sacrifice, spoiler alert, at the end is amazing. Anyway, I don't care for Spell of the Unknown. Sorry, Spell of the Unknown fans.
This guy also paid money to see the Emoji Movie in theaters, so we don't need to listen to this. Fair enough.
Thank you.
All right, so just as a quick, what are we doing today? So we're going to start off by going over some weird episodes. These are ones that just standard Pokemon episodes that had some pretty outlandish plots. Then we're going to get into the bizarre, which are episodes and specials that maybe the contents themselves aren't as interesting, but the stories behind their production are essentially what drive them to the next level. And then with whatever time at the end, we'll do a Q&A. If you're wondering what all this is out right there on the floor, we will reveal in due time, though it's probably not very hard to assume.
Zoroark's not included, by the way. It's my favorite Pokemon. You can't have him.
All right, so let's just get right into it with the weird. So these are some of the strangest episodes to have ever aired. So we all know this little guy, right? Togepi. We all love him. What a wholesome little fella. Now look at this little guy. All right, so to start off, we're talking about episode 142 of Diamond and Pearl, where no Togepi has gone before. So this is a pretty standard episode at the start. So the game comes across a giant tower. It's a Team Rocket trap because it's one in every 3 Pokemon episodes where Team Rocket bears a disguise and traps everyone. And they ended up paying for this because in the previous episode, they had a takoyaki stand at the Twinleaf Festival. And it is implied, based on their logo and the shape of the takoyaki, that it is made with octillery meat. Still better than what some fishermen have been known to do with octillery. But, and then also there's this thing in the tower. So yeah, so this tower Team Rocket built, unbeknownst to them, is home to an evil Togepi. But I mean, how bad could it really be? Let's be honest. I mean, it's not like the tower has some ulterior design flaw that Togepi totally is going to take advantage of. Oops.
I fear they may be attempting to activate our patented Vital Super Dimension system now!
Final verification checklist. Pro-Gunk energy system check.
Pro-Gunk.
And you, Pikachu, flight plan.
That's
All right.
I fear.
Whoops. Not sure why it's playing twice, but. So yeah, apparently the tower that Meowth had built is actually a rocket ship because they're Team Rocket, of course it is. And Togepi is able to use a track to hypnotize a bunch of the Pokemon and is commanding them on flying the rocket into space, planning to leave Earth's atmosphere for good. And it is never explained why Togepi wants to do this. It might be an alien trying to return to its home planet. Who knows? But that's where the episode takes a bit of a turn, as if it hasn't already. So Happiny saves the day by snapping everyone out of the trance, and then Happiny and Togepi have the most epic of baby showdowns. But while this is happening, Rayquaza appears, and Rayquaza, because they're all in space now, fires a hyper beam at the rocket, and they are now plummeting towards Earth with basically no chance of survival. So if only there were someone on board who just knew how to pilot a spacecraft. Or is there?
Energy flow from the power source is crashing and burning, so the control system's whack!
But we've already entered the planet's atmosphere. We're doomed! Leave the driving to me. I'll have you know Mom and Dad gifted me a real rocket ship for my 10th birthday!
Energy flow.
So yeah, first... So we find out that James actually received... He received the rocket for his 10th birthday, and then he poses as Gendo Ikari in one of my favorite references the show has ever done, while he commands on everyone how to safely land this aircraft. And then upon landing, Meowth translates what Togepi says, which is essentially, you know what, guys, I'm wiped. I'm going to continue this another time. And then the bro just kind of walks away and is never brought up again. And that's where the episode ends.
All right. Well, abruptly moving on. Does anyone remember these banned episodes? So on the bottom right, we have the Tentacruel episode where a giant Tentacruel terrorizes a city, and the one behind it, well, I'm just going to say if you know, you know, because this is technically an all-ages panel. So the third episode in this arc, well, it's technically like the fifth of like the SSN arc. The Ghost of Maiden's Peak has a lot of outlandish things about it, but first, some context. So the heroes arrive at a historic coast called Maiden's Peak that holds a festival every summer to honor a maiden who was in love with a soldier that went to war. This is the maiden. He never returned, but she waited so long she turned to stone. And then her ghost haunts the town, and Brock and James fall in love with her. Now, Brock, that's expected. James, not so much. There's also this old lady. I don't really have much to say about her. So these are the key characters. Now we all know them. The Ghost of Maiden's Peak, the title of the episode, and the old lady, who I don't have much to say about. Wait, oops, all Ghastly. They were Ghastly. It's Ghastly the entire time, actually, in fact. What a twist. And what happens next is just so insane, so I'm going to show it to you.
Go Ekans!
A snake snatcher enemy is among us.
Dinner time.
Your turn.
Coughing, poison gas attack. Coughing! Smoking is prohibited.
So putting the real-life animal aside, before this, also, Ghastly transforms into a mousetrap to chase off Pikachu. So, on a separate note, any Dragon Ball fans in the house? So, at one point in the episode, Ash sends his Venusaur, his Bulbasaur, and his Squirtle, there we go. He sends his Bulbasaur and Squirtle out, and Ghastly transforms into Venusaur and Blastoise, who can only do what is described as the fusion dance from Dragon Ball. And it actually works. They transform into Venustoise. And then after this, if that wasn't insane enough for you, Misty pulls out a cross. So remember that time Misty called on the power of Jesus to defeat Ghastly? Good times. For kids, yeah.
It was in the original as well.
Literally.
So we're on the topic of ghosts. So how about another ghost-filled episode for us? So we're going to jump back to Diamond and Pearl with Ghoul Days. Wonder what's up with this girl. So this is part of the Sinnoh Summer Academy arc, where it's essentially Pokemon's version of Harry Potter, where the trainers are all placed into different classes. They have to earn points for their team to try to come out on top at the end through doing different exercises. For this episode, Professor Rowan has everyone do a race to a place called the Summit Ruins to retrieve a medal. Now, they're going to be racing in a forest that's kind of overrun with ghost types, but you know what? They're probably harmless. And then the big twist, if you want to call it that, is that everyone needs to partner up, which shouldn't be too much of an issue. That is except for, you guys remember Conway? So he's that really creepy guy Ash battled in the Sinnoh League. So yeah, he's here. And would you believe this man is having trouble finding someone to be his partner? So like any sane individual, he decides, I'm going to go search out in the bushes. And he does find someone.
So, you're on the blue team too and you don't have a partner?
Hi, let's play together. Let's play.
Okay.
So yeah, the first thing she does, this girl who is actually a ghost that is Conway's partner, is hypnotize him and try to lure him off a cliff. So you know what? Pretty standard Pokemon stuff. But we're not here to talk about Conway. We don't care about him. Let's get back to Ash real quick. So Ash has plot armor because he's the main character. So him and Angie get to the Summit Ruins first. If you don't know who Angie is, she was Ash's partner in this race. She was a major character in this arc. Not really that important to this episode, though. And of course, the Ghost Girl is there, waiting at the entrance, because turns out the entrance to the Summit Ruins is also the entrance to the Spirit World, which is essentially Pokemon's version of Hell. And so there's a Dusknoir there who Ash has to battle, and they think Dusknoir is trying to trap this girl in the Spirit World. Unbeknownst to them, it's the other way around, and the girl's trying to trap them. So once they defeat Dusknoir, all of a sudden they're getting pulled in. Luckily, Dusknoir decides, hey, you know what? I'm gonna blast this little girl back to where she came from. I don't know, considering she opened the portal to the Spirit World, I don't know how she can be trapped there, but I'm not gonna question it. And then they just continue the arc like they were just like, all right, back to school now. The next episode is about them having a race on a beach, and there's a Slowking involved. We'll talk about Slowking more in a bit, but also, Conway is just kind of traumatized from this whole experience, being partnered with a ghost that tried to kill him. Though he does use a Dusknoir as his ace in the Sinnoh League, so feel free to psychoanalyze that if you please. Yeah.
Slowking's crowning from Pokemon Journeys.
Slowpoke in a reggae style. Pokemon. Come in.
Slow. I'll watch your story, Slowpoke. Slow. I'll watch your story, Slowpoke.
So, this episode's about Slowpoke. So Ash and Go arrive at an island called Slowpoke Island. Can you guess what Pokemon are on the island? Pikachu. Anyway, as anyone would do if they went to an island full of Slowpoke, Ash gets hungry and starts eating some cup noodles that he randomly had in his bag. Don't ask how he cooked them, because he doesn't have a fire type at this point. A Slowking randomly appears and uses Psychic to eat Ash's noodles. And as a sign of gratitude, he gives his crown to Ash. So Ash becomes just British, and eventually... this happens.
You will comply! I shall catch this! Critical success!
And I didn't include a clip of it, but it's funny in Japanese because he speaks English in this scene. So, moving on. If you thought this episode was a fever dream, it actually got a sequel, a follow-up episode where they go back to Slowpoke Island for some reason, and suddenly they hear a loud crash and a bunch of Galarian Slowpokes appear. And then a curry-loving Galarian Slowking appears, and one thing leads to another, like it did last time. Ash has a Slowking's crown on his head, this time the Galarian form, and for some reason he's rapping. And the noodle-loving Slowking from the last episode returns and gives his crown to Go. So, if Ash is rapping, what is Go King doing?
Yo, yo, yo! Go
Epic
King!
rap battles of
Battle
history.
today!
Hey, hey, hey! It's a rap battle, Ash King, okay!
Yo, curry! Eat it while it's really, really hot! Yo, it's tasty! Yo, it's spicy! Yo, curry! Spicy! Yo!
No! Only noodles for me, you see? That's what the Slowpoke all wanna eat! Put it in your bowl, and let's feast!
I feel like translating rap from Japanese to English doesn't go very well.
Yeah. So as you can see, they were rapping about curry and noodles. And at the end of the rap battle, the pot of curry and the pot of noodles combine into this golden, magical curry noodle pot. It's inexplicable. I don't know where the dishes came from, how the Slowpoke got them, but they're here. And to cap things off in this episode, the Galarian Slowkings, the crash from earlier, is revealed to be the fact that their island is there. And to leave, Galarian Slowking uses Psychic on the island and flies away. So, yeah, there's just a... yeah.
All right. On that note, anyone here been watching Pokemon Horizons? Got a few? Okay. Let's talk about this guy named Ludlow. So this is a fella named Ludlow, if you're not familiar with him. He's an old man who fishes all day, and he's basically the embodiment of inner peace. So he'll just sit there on the Brave Olivine, that's the ship they're on, and just sit there, he fishes, he has Quaxley with him sometimes, and he basically does nothing for like 95% of the episodes. But unrelated to him, let's talk about, he's not hiding anything, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about episode 42 of Horizons, Transform Hero of the Sea Palafin. All right, so this is just a standard filler episode. You know, they're on a beach. They're traveling back from Galar to Paldea. It's probably going to be about Sprigatito playing with this Wiglet for 20 minutes. There's also this Palafin, who's a local superhero, pretty cool in character. And this group of hooligans who want to take a picture of Palafin, because it turns out no human alive has ever seen Palafin transform from its base form to its hero form, and they want to make history in that regards. So they're trying to trap Palafin and get this picture, and when Palafin's in danger, who's there to come to the rescue?
Let's see. It seems the time for a transformation has finally come.
Did anybody else half expect him to say, "I am here"?
So on today's episode of What is Pokemon Parodying Today, we have Mighty G, who is clearly a riff on All Might. And yeah, he is the local superhero who saves Palafin. But you know what? There's more, because we find out later on that in Mighty G / Ludlow's youth, he was also an actor who went by the name of Gojiro, and he was the best kind of actor, which is a gimmick actor, and that's because all of his films had to include an evil Sharpedo in some way, and I mean all of them. And I really want like there to be funding to make these movies real, because oh my God. Yeah, we got Sharpedo Baseball, Sharpedo Zombie Track movie. Like this is what I need in life. So that is the last of the strange episodes we're going to talk about. Before we get to the ones with some weird development history, we're going to take a brief intermission. So just so we can catch our breath and so everyone can take a bit of a breather. So we're going to let Ash do the talking.
Trainers, which one of these Pokemon evolves into Seviper? Okay, trainers, if you chose Arbok, you were right. Arbok!
All right, you want to take it away? I should have pressed so it doesn't duplicate it. Thank you, 4 kids.
All right, so like my friend over here just said, we're going to be now talking about the episodes, the bizarre episodes with strange backstory and history. We all knew this one was coming. Electric Soldier Porygon, episode 38, the infamous episode of the Pokemon anime that most people probably know because of the controversy known as Pokemon Shock. But the episode, it has a pretty strange plot. I mean, Ash and the gang get transported into a PC because there's a virus, and they have to stop it. And then at one point, Nurse Joy sees that they're in the PC, so she sends some like missiles, which are like antivirus, after them. And Pikachu uses Thunderbolt to destroy them, which causes lights to flash alternately. Obviously, we're not going to show it at full speed or at any speed because it's just an image here. But it caused a lot of seizures and other health effects in Japan. So, but the question is, was it ever dubbed into English? There's conflicting reports. So Michael Hagney, the original voice director of the Pokemon anime, has been on record on his podcast and in other mediums saying that they never even got the episode from Nintendo, that they were like trying to assemble the team for the Pokemon anime at the time the controversy was still like in the heat of it. So that's his account. Eric Stort and Matty Blastoyne, the voice of Brock and Meowth, respectively, have stated that they remember dubbing the episode and that they would not know what happened in the episode if they didn't dub it. But then Nintendo nixed the episode and they chose not to air it. So that would suggest that there's a copy out there somewhere. And then Veronica Taylor, the original voice of Ash, as everyone knows, has said multiple times that she's unaware of ever dubbing the episode. And Rachel Lillis, the voice of Misty, rest in peace, by the way, has also corroborated this in the past. So, was it ever dubbed? Anecdotal evidence probably suggests that they never received the episode because, like I said, it was in the heat of the controversy. And also episodes that 4Kids received, such as these clips here, were edited. As you can see in this flashing lights one, it's basically exactly what caused the original controversy. So they blurred it a lot, faded it, and then stuff like this where it's just a quick flash on screen where Ash is getting flicked. They just took that out completely. And then even stuff at the bottom, like this clip of Meowth getting hit by Caterpie's string shot, I'm not sure if you can see it on this projector, but they took out the string shot lines around it for some reason. I'm really not sure why, but I'm sure they had their reasons. So the episode was pulled from Japanese broadcasting before 4Kids ever got the dubbing rights. And it's likely they were never given the episode in the first place. So sadly, we do not have a dub. There are fan dubs you can find out there that aren't that bad. You just have to research them. But Porygon has a very interesting legacy in the context of Pokemon, specifically the anime. His entire line has been erased. They have not talked about him ever, except as a cameo in the movie opening. And it's not even because they show every single Pokemon in that. It's in the Keldeo movie.
Yep.
Yeah, Kyurem versus the Sword of Justice. But the Pokemon anime now probably begrudgingly holds the title for most photosensitive epileptic seizures caused by a television show from the Guinness Book of World Records.
It's a record they will hopefully hold forever.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then, so the Pokemon anime went on hiatus after this, which caused certain episodes, such as these Christmas specials. Snow Way Out on the right is a very iconic episode where Ash is in the cave and huddling with his Pokemon for warmth. But that and this Christmas episode with Jinx was supposed to happen on Christmas, which is when the Porygon episode originally aired. And since the Pokemon anime returned 4 months later, they couldn't just do Christmas episodes. But this was the only hiatus for the Pokemon anime ever until they took a month-long break during the pandemic during Pokemon Journeys. So we also have Porygon that's sweet. I mean, let's be real. Porygon did nothing wrong. It was Pikachu who hit the missiles. Porygon just got put the blame, and now because of that, he never gets to be in the anime. But the Pokemon Company, this is a real tweet, by the way. They tweeted this, and then it was shortly deleted after. So.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So, well, we're gonna get a little more modern, but showing my age here, not too much more modern. Let's talk about Team Plasma a bit. All right. Anyone find it weird how Team Plasma was introduced to the anime? Because we only ever got the black and white 2 versions of them. The original Team Plasma never made an appearance at all. And it was also kind of strange. The first few episodes of Best Wishes kept mentioning this stone called the Media Knight, and Team Rocket was after this stone. Back even at the end of Diamond and Pearl, they were talking about a secret mission, which would then become the Media Knight project. And then 22 episodes in, they just stopped talking about it altogether. And it's almost like we missed an episode or two. And that, my friends, it's because we did. So let's take a look at this.
と表したメテオナイト。
まるで太陽だ。そうと。我々が手に入れるものとはまさに太陽。
英雄が持つべき力、誰にも渡さぬ。
Side note, when this trailer first dropped, there were like a bunch of people speculating that this was Brock in a Team Plasma disguise. It is not. Sorry to burst your bubble on that. But of course, we're talking about Team Rocket versus Team Plasma, the episode that never was meant to be. So, if you're wondering, did I show the clip in Japanese because it never got dubbed? No. I showed it in Japanese because that trailer is the only footage known to exist of these episodes currently out. So they were originally supposed to air in Japan in March 2011 as the 23rd and 24th episodes of Best Wishes. And yeah, this was going to be like the culmination of the special mission that Team Rocket was on. Plus, it was going to introduce Team Plasma, and it was going to be the original Black and White 1 Team Plasma, as opposed to them being introduced after the Unova League, right when the series was wrapping up, and they're like, gotta keep things moving, X and Y come out soon. And interestingly, this episode was also originally going to bring Looker back. Looker didn't end up appearing. Got a Looker fan over there. Yeah. Do you know Looker's Japanese name is Handsome? Anyway. Yeah, so Looker didn't actually end up appearing in the Best Wishes or Black and White anime until 112 episodes in, but he was originally supposed to appear in episode 23. So yeah, what in the world happened here? Well, unfortunately, this was all due to some very, very unfortunate timing. Because right before 6 days before these episodes aired, the disastrous earthquake and tsunami occurred in Japan in 2011. And if Pokemon still they didn't go off the air. They still aired an episode that week, but they ran into the problem of, hey, these episodes show Castelia City getting absolutely destroyed. It's probably in poor taste to air this right after this massive tragedy just struck Japan. So TV Tokyo originally said that they were going to postpone these episodes, and what they ended up doing was they ended up just airing Ash's gym battle with Berg instead, which was the episode following this arc. They later retracted the statement about later airing these episodes at another date. And what's interesting is they actually changed the ending of the previous episode as well. So the episode leading into it, which was a Venipede Stampede, ended with Professor Juniper taking the gang to the desert resort, which is where this arc was going to start off. In the dub, the ending was changed so Professor Juniper goes to the resort, and then they're all like, okay, bye. We're just gonna stay here and ignore everything that you say is going on. And then in subsequent airings and releases of the Japanese version, they've replaced it with this new ending. So, what have we seen of this episode? Because clearly not much. Well, if we want to talk about the location itself, Ash would visit the desert resort 9 years later in Journeys, so it's not like we never got to see it. But what is more interesting is they actually reused a decent amount of the CG that was produced for this episode in later episodes of Black and White. Most notably was the Operation Tempest arc, where they essentially replaced the Media Knight with the reveal glass. This arc did have a lot of differences. Team Plasma wasn't involved. It involved like Meloetta and then the Therian forms of the genies. But you can tell that a lot of the animation was essentially repurposed for this arc. And we also have a single clip of Krokorok from this episode that was shown on Professor Oak's Pokemon Livecaster, which would air after the episodes in Japan. But that begs a question. How do we know that this episode is where this Krokorok scene originated? They could have just made an original scene of Krokorok. I mean, none of the other Professor Oak episodes have original animation, but maybe Krokorok's special. But the reason we know that this Krokorok was going to appear here, and this is a scene from the episode, is because the script is out. So in May 2023, a Bulba Garden user posted the entire script online. Now this is an early draft and has a few differences to what we see in the trailer. But I was very skeptical when this came out. I was like, yeah, right. No, this is legit. This is the actual script that was auctioned off in Japan. And so whoever got it decided, you know what, I've been holding it for X amount of time. I might as well share it. And it was translated within a day. And even then, despite the episode being fully complete and ready to air, we have yet to actually see the finished episode. Maybe one day it'll be released as like a special feature on a DVD. Given the state of physical media, I don't think that's very likely. But it is interesting that unlike a lot of canceled projects, this one was 100% finished and even had a proposed air date that we just never got to see.
And even if we did get to see it in English, dubbing can be a challenge. And that is very apparent in this special, The Legend of Thunder. Who here has seen this? Okay, like a few people. Awesome.
More than I expected.
Yeah, honestly. So what is The Legend of Thunder? It was the first time the main character of the series wasn't Ash Ketchum. It was a Sorry. It was a series that followed characters from the Johto games, and this guy on the left, Jimmy, who is the stand-in for Gold, Marina, who is Chris from the games, and then Vincent, who's an original character. They're all from New Barktown, so it's a Johto-based series, as you can tell by Raikou on the cover. The main plot involves them trying to prevent Team Rocket agents Attila and Hun from capturing Raikou. So as you can see, like they love their like two-part names: Attila and Hun, Jesse James, Butch Cassidy.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's kind of the gist of this special. What's so special about it? It originally aired in Japan as a 60-minute special, a 60-plus minute. It was about an hour 9, and it was adapted into 3 standard-length episodes in the English dub. The first 3 episodes of Pokemon Chronicles in English, that's kind of the role that they filled. It was a series that that dubbed many like Pokemon specials that were initially Japanese exclusive. And due to the format change, the dub of this one is like very heavily edited. It's also important to note, this DVD cover of Pokemon Chronicles is the one that contains The Legend of Thunder. I looked, it also contains like 2 other episodes. I looked, none of the episodes contain any of the Charizard line. So they literally were just like, hey, Charizard, please buy this. So with this dub, like independent of the fact that they had to turned it to episodes. There's a lot of like random changes that they made with the characters. So like I said, this is Jimmy, Marina, and Vincent. Jimmy, he's the dub name for Gold, and he appears briefly battling Ash in the Zoroark movie, which is a Gen 4 movie. But it's technically a different character based on Ethan, the protagonist of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, who is different than Gold. It's confusing. It doesn't make sense. That's kind of the title of the slide.
We know this because it's listed as Ethan's Japanese name in the Japanese version subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the only evidence we have.
So then Marina, her goal is to become a Pokemon idol, and then later becomes a Pokemon coordinator and models for a PokeChat in Diamond and Pearl. They're very confusing about the whole Pokemon idol thing. They don't really explain that well. And then Vincent, he's first introduced here, technically in the main Pokemon anime canon. He's first introduced in Japanese, but in America, he was first shown battling Ash in the Johto League, and his name was Jackson. He had a completely different name, and he refers to Jimmy and Marina as Yoshi and Danny. They're not there, but he does talk about them in the English dub and calls them Yoshi and Danny. And there's more. So you've seen this character from the games. He appears in the Pokemon anime main series as well, but in The Legend of Thunder, he's renamed Eugene. Honestly, he kind of just loses aura with the name Eugene. No offense to anybody whose name is Eugene, by the way.
Do we have any Eugenes out here? That's what I thought.
Okay, good. Okay. Good, I didn't offend anyone. And and then we have Hun, originally male in the Japanese version, but a mistranslation in the script caused Hun's gender to be changed to female in the dub. Hun's voice actor is actually Veronica Taylor as well, so it's it kind of sounds like Ash Ketchum, but more feminine. But it's important to note that Hun's gender is not really talked about in the script, so it's likely not a purposeful change. And then there's Attila. He honestly really doesn't have that much confusion about him. I just felt weird not including him because the only other major character. But he's I guess one thing about him is that he's described as Hun's new partner in the dub, whereas that's not done in Japanese. So he's probably in the history been with him the whole time. But anyway, there's also some cut content. First, we have a ton of sporadic dialogue cuts. There's a conversation with Professor Elm at the beginning. It's cut down, and they talk about how they can't travel the mountain on foot, but instead in the English dub, it just cuts to them saying that they could get a plane or just formulating ideas how they could get. So they're just chopping off tiny bits here and there, but sometimes they would just chop out big chunks. There's also this trainer at the beginning. In Japanese, his name is Shinji, not to be confused with Paul from Diamond and Pearl, whose name in Japanese is also Shinji. Yeah, so they cut the scene where he introduces himself and they trade Pokegear numbers. So he's just nameless in English. He's in the English version of The Legend of Thunder, but he doesn't have a name. Then there's Jimmy and Marina's backstory, which in typical 4Kids fashion, they kind of cut out the backstory part and then put in more shipping content, kind of like what they did with Ash and Misty. So yeah, why did they do all these changes? Transitioning formats. So like I said, it's 3 episodes in the English dub, and it's an 1 hour and 9 minutes movie in Japanese. So they cut off the 9 minutes at the end to fit it into 3 different episodes. The air date, it aired in Japan 3.5 years in 2001 before it would get dubbed in 2005 early in the year. So there's just a lot of stuff that could have been forgotten between then. Staff differences. None of the translation or direction staff. I kind of had to go down a rabbit hole to figure this out. But on dubbing.wiki.com, it shows the voice directing credits and the people who translated it. It's completely different. So it's pretty likely that they just didn't realize these characters had already appeared in the Pokemon anime before. Because like I said, this was aired in 2005, which was during the Advanced Generation, the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire anime, Hoenn, Battle Frontier, all that.
All right, so we got one more special to talk about. This one is another interesting localization case. You guys remember all those Pikachu shorts they would play before the movies? We got Vacation, the one where he gets chased by the evil lawnmower. That was my favorite. Why'd they ever stop doing those? Honestly, yeah. So it turns out in Japan, they actually didn't stop doing those. They have now, but like for a while they didn't. And they would just keep they just kept pumping these out and just not dubbing them. So there's a large number of these Pikachu shorts that we have just never seen. And interesting among these is the one that has never received a home release, Pikachu's Ocean Adventure. Now, this special is Pikachu short, some underwater fun. So it was released in May 2006 in Japan, and it was shown in 3D, which is pretty cool and unlike all of the other specials. And what's interesting, though, is despite being in theaters, they never released it on any collections. It didn't come with any movie on physical media. There is literally no way to watch the special unless you're in a theater. That being said, they have re-released it in Japanese theaters several times. So in 2017 with the Volcanion movie, they re-released it. And then most recently in February 2020, it was released at a museum of natural history, interestingly enough. But yeah, it's a shame it never got dubbed, right? You know where this is going. I lied, it did get dubbed. So this dub is interesting, though, as quite possibly the most limited release the Pokemon anime has ever had. So just a quick briefing. It was released 2 years later, so July 2008 in the US. And it got an English dub in theaters. Though I shouldn't say in theaters, I should say in theater, singular, because it was only ever shown at one theater, that theater being inside a Jordan's Furniture. It was only ever shown in the Jordan's Furniture Theater in Avon, Massachusetts. So this is a Pokemon dub that has only ever been seen in this state. And now it's considered the internet's favorite buzzword, which is lost media. So who's the culprit? Who can we blame for this bizarre release? Well, there's a company called Simex iWorks, and they specialize in what are usually called 4D experiences. So this special was shown in quote-unquote 4D in English. Essentially, it meant that the seats would move a bit, there would be some sense, they blew bubbles at one point. And the theater it was shown in was the Motion Odyssey movie, or MOM Theater at Jordan's, which unfortunately closed down in 2019 right before the pandemic. I did check. Some Jordans around in the area do still have IMAX theaters, though last I saw they're all just playing the Minecraft movie, so no interesting specials there. This guy gets it. So this is Lost, but how lost are we talking? Well, aside from the official trailer, there is a single clip in very poor quality that's been uploaded online, and that's about it. Though personally speaking, I did see this when I was 6 at Jordan's Furniture, just happened to be getting furniture. So if you want to know my accounts of seeing the special, there's a scene where Meowth jumps out in 3D and gets right up in your face and screams fun, and that is my only memory of seeing this. So if this ever gets out and you see Meowth jump out and he's doing that fun scream, I called it. So is there any hope of this getting released? Well, I did get in contact with the Simex iWorks Vice President of Licensing and Distribution, because I was just wondering, I don't want to advocate for a leak or anything. Could Simex iWorks, they did recently re-release a Sonic short they did, could they re-release this one? And he confirmed that they have no licensing rights to it anymore, and legally cannot release it if they even still have a copy. So any distribution now would have to be done directly by the Pokemon Company International. And it's also worth noting, just for sake of who else might have a copy, though even though they also can't re-release it, would be Duart, who dubbed the special. They, however, no longer dub the Pokemon anime as of 2020. In fact, they no longer dub anything and are now a New York-based real estate company. But you know what? I'm not ready to give up quite yet. Maybe in like a year or two if it's still not out. But I do think that while it's inaccessible now, there is still space. And I say that mainly out of copium, but also because the first Mystery Dungeon special aired on Cartoon Network in 2006. This was Team Go-Getters Get Out of the Gate. And it got some fans for that. Fun fact, I saw the Mystery Dungeon specials before I knew what the games were. So I thought the games were based on the Mystery Dungeon specials. And then I was disappointed when they told me I need to buy the games to see how it ends, and I never did. But with the special, it aired on Cartoon Network, never got a home release, but they did randomly one day upload it on the official Pokemon YouTube channel. And that was to promote, in 2015, promoting Super Mystery Dungeon on the 3DS. But now we do have the Pokemon TV YouTube channel, so theoretically, they have an outlet if they wanted to one day just, we wake up and it's uploaded. It is a real possibility now, because they have been uploading a lot more and more older content. Though, one thing is that it wouldn't have any of the 4D effects, obviously. But perhaps by spreading the word about this short that I think we in Massachusetts can safely call our own, maybe we could get an official release to happen. All right, so that is the last episode we had to talk about. We're going to shift over to a Q&A in a bit. But before that, a quick word from our sponsor, Servine.
But you'll never be able to beat my Servine! Servine!
A Servine?
Big
Servine!
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Servine! Servine! Servine!
That's Servine! It's gotta be!
Servine.
For legal reasons, Servine did not actually sponsor us, just so Servine's lawyers don't get on our case. But yeah, we would like to. We have about 12 minutes left. If anyone has any questions, if you do have a question, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. We expected a lot less people, so thank you for this. But feel free to come up if you have a question. We are going to try to get through them. Got a
mic right up there.
Yeah,
so.
Mike is right there. We're going to try to get through them quickly just so we can get to as many people as possible. And if you do ask a question, feel free to then come up and take a prize. We have some cards, some plushies, the 23-in-1 super game. Most of the games are the same game. And then a copy of Balan Wonderworld from my personal collection. All right.
Testing. Hello.
Hello.
All right. I have a question. Do you guys know, based on the Pokemon anime, there are 3 Pokemon that can time travel? Can you name them? 2 of them are easy. 1 of them is hard.
Do you know?
I know Dialga and Celebi.
Dialga, Celebi, Rotom.
Bingo.
XY time travel episode.
Yeah, something
weird.
that I thought you guys might talk about for everyone else. There's an episode of the Pokemon anime, I believe it's in black and white, where they go to a old hotel that is run down, and there's a Rotom living in the hotel, and Ash goes into an elevator, and the Rotom possesses the elevator, and then time travels Ash back in time to earlier in the hotel's history, and then they do something with the hotel, and then they go back forward in time, and Ash's picture is on the wall.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know.
Excellent.
Feel free to grab something, whatever you want. Hello, Umbreon.
Hello. I'm just curious if there were any other IPs you would have liked to see Pokemon spoof on in any of the weird episodes.
Any other IPs?
I think a lot of the stuff, I don't know if it's something that I can hope for. I just kind of see it and I'm like, oh, Because like there's an episode in that same Slow King episode I talked about. It's like a two-parter, and the one before is a Magikarp episode, like where they're trying to jump the highest, and they reference like old like shonen, like Dragon Ball, where they take the training weights off and then they can jump higher or whatever. I like that kind of stuff. I love that pop references. I just don't know personally which one.
There are multiple Pokemon episodes that are parodying the Japanese reality show where they send kids out on errands by themselves. I think it would be fun if Pokemon were to reference, like, I don't know, Survivor or something. All right, thank you.
Yes, my question. So, when they did the whole Arbok evolving into Survivor, was it ever figured out why they did that? I mean...
They're both snakes.
Yeah, but I mean, it just makes no sense. I mean, for the longest time, I actually thought that was true until reality came to me.
The most likely answer is that just because they're working on the Pokemon anime does not mean they play the games or have like we probably know more about Pokemon than they do. So they probably just were like he said, snakes. Oh, they must be related.
Oy.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Feel free to grab something or not.
Who is your favorite one-off character in the series?
One-off character.
Ooh.
Like character of the day, single appearance. There's this guy. He appears in Hoenn.
I know exactly what this is.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it, but please don't think I'm saying something else. His name is Nikolai the Knickerbocker. His whole shtick is that he likes knickerbockers, which are like a type of clothing. And he dresses up as like random Pokemon. He's awesome.
I really like. So there was a recent episode of Horizons with a spoof on super fans of like streamers.
Yeah.
Named like I think it was like
Nyabiko, which just means
like,
Litten fan. Yeah.
And I like how they portrayed. Essentially stalkers, in a sense.
Just think about like a parasocial relationship with a streamer, and that's the character.
I also like there was a one-off character in Journeys that was a shiny hunter, and I thought that was a fun idea.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I got an important question. Ash Ketchum versus Yu-Gi-Moto fist fight. Who wins? No Pokemon cards, no Yu-Gi-Oh, no Pokemon, no cards, just hands. Who wins?
So I'm going to be honest, I know very little about Yugi Moto. Does he have any powers?
No, nothing. It's just hands.
So
they met at a bar and they're fighting.
Ash has aura.
Yes, he does. Literal like Lucario aura, but also he had the gall to throw hands with Mewtwo. So I don't know if Yugi Moto has done anything like that. So
So we're saying Ash wins then.
I think Ash wins. I'm biased.
Yeah,
we're both biased. Thank you for your question.
Obviously, we briefly touched upon real animals in Pokemon.
Yes.
What is your favorite real-world animal in the early seasons before they really like fleshed out that? Actually, no, there's like only Pokemon.
Okay. In the third episode, right before Ash catches a Pidgeotto, you see it eating a worm. My favorite is that worm it ate.
Gosh, I don't really have an answer to this question. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I think the mongoose is really funny.
Hi.
So, hello. So I gotta wonder, what brought this on? It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of tracking down really obscure information to put all of this together. What motivated you guys to be like, we need to show the world these absolutely bizarre things?
Yeah, like we both are like huge Pokemon anime fans. Like that's what we do mainly on our content. So I don't know about him, but for me personally, I do feel like the Pokemon anime sector of like Pokemon YouTube is kind of like niche. So it's like really, it's just cool to just talk about it in front of like a huge crowd like this. It was like big
Thank you very
motivation.
much for putting it all together. It was really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have an answer?
Yeah. So I mean. No, okay, that's fine. Yeah, feel free to come up and take something while I'm answering. But yeah, so essentially, when I was younger, I would spend a lot of time on Bulbapedia going episode by episode and reading all the trivia, dub edits, and errors. So this has just been ingrained in my psyche since I could read, essentially, and had internet access. So I think I've always wanted to just kind of share this knowledge with people who will listen, and not my friends who tell me to shut up and stop talking about Pikachu's ocean adventure for the fifth time. All right.
Do you think there's a reason that a lot of those weird episodes were specifically hypnosis themed?
It is an odd concept.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the hypnosis kind of probably just breathes the most like whimsical ideas. There's also an episode we didn't talk about where Miss Magius hypnotizes everybody, and they like Ash is like fighting Cynthia with like a Rayquaza or something, and so it's like they, yeah, you're right, they do like a lot of weird stuff with hypnosis.
There's also just like the Hypno episode in season 1 where it just like abducts people. Like there could be a whole there could be a whole panel on like weird Pokemon hypnosis episodes.
I would totally be down for that.
And we do have about 4 minutes left, so we're just going to try to rapid fire through these. All right.
Hello, Glaceon.
Yeah.
Quick question: if you had to pick the weirdest Pokemon in the entire franchise, which would it be?
The weirdest Pokemon?
Yes.
Mr. Rhyme. Mr. Rhyme, he scares me.
I think all the fossil Pokemon from Gen 8 are really weird. They're just unsettling. I mean, that's kind of the point, but I just think they're really weird and unsettling to look at.
Good choice.
Bruxus also.
What's your favorite Pokemon spin-off?
Spin-off? Like the
game or anime?
Yeah, game.
My favorite is probably Pokemon Ranger, but I also really love the Pokepark games. Any Pokepark fans in here? Dude.
Pokemon Conquest, baby. Yeah.
Sorry if I missed this, but why did Brock's jelly-filled donut not make the cut?
I just feel like everybody knows about that one. I mean, everyone knows about Electric Soldier Porygon, but that one's just like, it's funny.
That could be another panel of every time 4Kids changed rice balls to a different food.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is a very iconic scene.
Hi. So we all know that Ash and friends and many times have almost died, but does anyone remember in like Johto that Ash had like a tummy ache and he just goes up to like this random old guy and he's like, here, try this thing. And this guy just effectively kills Ash, like his stomach explodes and he just passes out.
Am I forgetting? I think I'm forgetting.
I'm also blanking on. I'm gonna have to. Do you remember like when in Johto or what it was called? Or
I have no idea, but I swear I have seen this, and I can't be the only one.
I'm gonna try to find this episode with not searching too many things that are gonna get me put on the list. But thank you.
I'm pretty sure I have it bookmarked somewhere. If I find it, I will email it to you.
Okay.
So, of all the talk of Team Rocket, I wanted to ask, what was your favorite era of Team Rocket? Like, which season of the anime?
Anything besides Black and White, honestly.
Yeah, I think Sun and Moon.
I was
Sun
gonna
and
also
Moon
say
because
that, yeah.
that's like the one where it's just like they feel much more like or much less like gag characters and more like actual like people that we can like bond with and relate to through the screen.
Yeah.
So
I like how they run a Malasada truck.
Yeah.
As like their side gig.
like
that was
they're just
fun.
trying to get money. They're trying to live paycheck to paycheck.
Hi, do you guys want to open a pack for me in TCG Pocket?
After the panel, we got a minute and a half.
After the panel, well,
Yeah,
feel free to come take something.
What is your guys' favorite Pokemon games?
Mainline?
Yeah, mainline.
Black and White 2, personally.
What is it?
Oh, yeah, you feel free to take the 23andMe.
Sorry, y'all heard my
Super game.
Anyway, my favorite is Pokemon Emerald. Yes.
All right, 1 minute left.
Go
So
ahead.
we got everyone in line now. We're just going to rapid fire.
You guys mentioned the Palafin episode and like
Yes.
how no one like knew how Palafin was like going into the hero mode. Did you guys know in the TCG the Palafin EX is based off the hero mode Palafin from the anime?
Really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I just happened to have it with me. I was
Cool.
like, oh my god.
It's a crazy
Cool.
pull.
Yeah.
Are there any other instances besides Meowth in the anime of Pokemon teaching themselves how to speak human?
The Ghastly from the
That
Ghost of
Ghastly-
Maiden Peak.
Yeah, but like, yeah.
Like, without like just like psychic powers?
Yeah,
is
I don't
that
think
not
so,
really,
no.
no.
Come on down.
What's your least favorite shiny Pokemon?
What was that?
What's your least favorite shiny Pokemon?
Oh, Garchomp. It's just like a worse shade of Garchomp.
Yeah, probably.
Or Gengar.
Like Persian, probably. Persian changes barely.
Gengar was cool. Sorry.
Sarah Legend Marshadow also.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say another great contender for this panel that is an absolute fever dream are the Sabrina episodes. I don't remember what they're called, but like
That
the
is
male turn
true,
into
yeah.
dolls.
All right.
All right. So we got.
So there's a couple of different other, like, just in normal Pokemon movies, just like weird moments, like Ash's mom gets kidnapped by Entei to be his wife, and Ash maybe kisses Latias at one point. What's your favorite sort of like just weird moment in a Pokemon movie?
In a
Weird
in a
moment.
movie?
In a movie or episode?
Whatever's easiest for you to answer.
I think all the cloning stuff in the Mewtwo movie is kind of off-putting.
For some reason, my mind jumped to when Ash tackled Faba in the Sun and Moon episode, like full on just like yeeted him. Yeah, I think the cloning is also a good answer though.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna take your last question quickly, and then we gotta get off.
Yeah, we are a little over time.
I was just wondering because I recently showed my friend the episode where Magikarp becomes buff, and I just wanted to know your thoughts on that because my friend did not like it.
Where Magikarp becomes what?
Buff. Like he
Buff.
works out.
Oh,
and
that's
gets,
the
like, a
one right before
six-pack.
the Slowking.
Yeah.
I think that episode's funny. I like it. I also played the Magikarp jump game a lot. So.
Yeah, I like when Magikarp takes the braces off and like the Rock Lee reference.
Yes.
I think that was a great moment.
Thank you so much,
right,
guys,
thank
for
you.
coming. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
We'll be back
Also,
Sunday, 3:30 p.m., Dragonfly Theater. We're talking about the Mewtwo movie and its development.
Yeah.
So if you want a more educational panel, feel free to swing on by.